Welcome to tonight's sleep story. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and let go of the day. Allow yourself to relax and settle into a peaceful state, as my voice gently guides you through a world of calm and tranquility. With each word, feel the tension slip away, leaving only relaxation and comfort. Let's drift into a soothing story together as you begin your journey into a restful and rejuvenating sleep.
Picture yourself standing in the misty mountains of ancient Greece, where the wind whispers through the tall, towering peaks, carrying the scent of fresh pine and earth. You are far from the bustling cities below, surrounded by snow-capped peaks that reach into the sky like ancient stone sentinels. The air is crisp and refreshing, yet there is an undeniable energy in the air, the energy of something larger than life, something beyond mortal comprehension. You stand in the presence of Mount Olympus, the sacred home of the gods, towering above the world below. In the distance, you could imagine the grand halls of the gods, bright, shining structures made of marble and gold, where power and influence rule not by laws, but by divine right. Here, in this mythical realm, resides Zeus, the king of the gods, who holds dominion over the heavens, the earth, and the storms that rage above. Feel the weight of his presence, as if the heavens themselves pause to listen whenever he speaks. Zeus, the son of Cronus and Rhea, was destined to rule the universe, though his path was not without obstacles. His father, Cronus, fearful of a prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him, had consumed each of his newborns. Yet fate could not be denied. Zeus, the youngest of the siblings, was saved by his mother Rhea, hidden in a cave away from his father's destructive reach. In the quiet, peaceful surroundings of this divine home, imagine the tense moment when Zeus finally rose up against his father. With the help of his siblings, Poseidon and Hades, who were freed from Cronus's belly, and the Cyclopes and Hecatonchires, powerful beings forged in the depths of the earth, Zeus struck down his father and took the throne. The earth trembled, the sky roared, and the winds howled as Zeus claimed his rightful place as the ruler of the gods. You can hear the sounds of thunder in the distance, like a warning rumble from the heavens, as Zeus ascended to his throne. With his mighty thunderbolt in hand, he declared himself the protector of order, justice, and fate, commanding the skies and shaping the very fabric of the world. The gods and mortals alike would answer to his will, and the forces of nature would bend at his command. The glistening halls of Olympus now stand as a testament to his power. Imagine stepping into these majestic chambers, where golden light spills through the great windows, casting long, soft shadows over the ancient walls adorned with depictions of the gods and their exploits. There is a quiet awe in the air, as if every stone and statue on this sacred mountain is imbued with the power of the gods themselves. And at the center of it all, Zeus sits, his gaze firm, his voice commanding, and his presence unshakable, that even as you stand in awe of Zeus's might, You begin to sense that even the most powerful gods are not free from the webs of emotion and desire. His rule is not without its complexities, and his actions, though often for the good of the world, sometimes come at a cost. Zeus is not a cold ruler. He is a god of passion, impulse, and at times recklessness. His affairs, his rivals, and his family dynamics create a tapestry of intrigue and drama that stretches across Mount Olympus and into the mortal realm. With every thunderclap that echoes through the heavens, Zeus's power is made manifest, shaping the lives of gods and mortals alike. Yet, even as he sits atop his mighty throne, surrounded by his loyal followers and revered by the world, he cannot escape the endless struggles that come with such power. There's always a storm brewing, not just in the skies, but in the hearts of the gods, and in the ever-changing world they govern. As you continue to gaze upon Mount Olympus, feel the pulse of divine energy coursing through the air. Zeus, the king of gods, is a figure of unmatched power and authority, but even he is bound by the intricate web of fate. Every step he takes reverberates through the cosmos, and every decision he makes carries the weight of the world. A world where destiny, passion, and conflict are never far from the surface. Now, take a slow breath and imagine standing in the heart of Olympus, feeling the quiet power that emanates from the mountain, the air charged with the essence of the gods. Zeus's reign, though filled with power and glory, is also marked by the subtle complexities of divine interaction, creating a divine drama that will unfold in the chapters to come. The winds shift, carrying with them the sound of distant thunder, a subtle reminder that even in the sacred halls of Mount Olympus, where gods reign supreme, tensions are never far from the surface. Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, though unmatched in strength and influence, finds himself caught in the complexities of love, jealousy, and family loyalty. These divine emotions, much like the storms he commands, swirl unpredictably, shaping the relationships among the gods and affecting the very balance of the universe. As you walk through the hallowed corridors of Olympus, the air thick with the perfume of immortality, you can almost feel the electric tension in the atmosphere. Hera, Zeus's wife, stands at the heart of this tension. The goddess of marriage and fertility, beautiful and powerful, carries with her both a deep love for her husband and a burning jealousy that threatens to tear apart their divine marriage. Hera, though deeply devoted to her role as queen, cannot overlook the countless affairs of Zeus. His numerous liaisons with mortals and other deities fuel her resentment, and her jealousy becomes a force as powerful as any storm Zeus could summon. In the grand hall of Olympus, where the gods gather in eternal splendor, Hera's gaze is cold, her presence commanding, and her voice, when it speaks, carries the weight of divine authority. She is no meek consort, and as queen, she knows her power is just as formidable as Zeus's, but it is the bitter strain between them that often divides the gods. In the silence of the great halls, you can almost feel the sharpness of their unspoken arguments, the tension that simmers beneath the surface of their royal duties. Zeus, with his countless affairs, unknowingly stokes Hera's fury, and though his rule is absolute, it is his betrayal of their sacred bond that weakens the very foundation of their divine reign. Imagine for a moment how the gods must feel when Zeus, in his infinite power, acts on his desires. Each affair, each fleeting connection, further isolates him from Hera, who, despite her anger, still deeply cares for him. But Hera's emotions are no less complex. Though she feels betrayed, she is also fiercely protective of her status as queen and her desire to maintain control over Zeus's world, and his heart leads her to take increasingly vindictive actions. Her jealousy takes shape in the form of punishments against those who Zeus loves, mortals and immortals alike. These divine schemes are as intricate and relentless as any mortal drama, but they are played on a grander, more devastating scale. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategy, watches with caution from her seat on Olympus. Though she is a daughter of Zeus, she has no loyalty to his romantic exploits. Athena is above the petty squabbles of love and jealousy, preferring instead to use her intellect and wisdom to maintain balance. Yet she knows that the chaos between Zeus and Hera could spill into the world, causing great imbalance. In her wisdom, she sees the necessity of calm and reason, knowing that if the gods are to maintain their dominion over the world, they must put aside their personal rivalries and come together in unity. Her approach to conflict is always measured, and she knows that while the gods' relationships may seem chaotic, their true strength lies in their ability to manage their differences. And then there is Poseidon, Zeus's brother, whose own turbulent nature and desires complicate the gods' relationships further. Poseidon, lord of the seas, is no stranger to conflict. His own feelings of rivalry with Zeus over the throne of Olympus have never fully subsided. Though he stands beside his brother, in many battles, Poseidon often covets more power, especially over the domain of the sea. He is a god of great passion, and while Zeus wields the thunderbolt, Poseidon controls the deep, unpredictable ocean, a force just as dangerous and volatile. The seas are calm, but only on the surface. Beneath, Poseidon's anger stirs, and it does not take much to cause the ocean to rage in the halls of Olympus, where power, beauty, and intellect collide. These relationships shift like the tides. Feel the tension in the air as gods who once stood united now clash over love, loyalty, and power. There is no rest for the mighty gods. Even when they sit in the great hall, surrounded by beauty and comfort, their hearts remain restless, driven by emotions that are as intense and unpredictable as the forces they control. As you walk among them, you can almost hear the divine whispers, a murmur of betrayal, a rumble of jealousy, the sharp hum of conflict hanging in the air. But in the midst of this chaos, there is also order. The gods, for all their flaws and squabbles, remain the architects of the universe. Their emotional turmoil and cosmic struggles are part of the balance that keeps the world alive. The gods' imperfection is what makes them real, and their flaws serve as a constant reminder that power, love, and justice are forever intertwined in a delicate dance, one that will shape the fate of gods and mortals alike. Feel the shifting tides of these divine struggles, where each decision ripples out across the world. The chaos of emotions among the gods may sometimes seem overwhelming, but it is through their conflict and resolution that they shape the course of the cosmos. These divine battles, though often hidden beneath the surface, are what give the gods their power and humanity, and through them, they leave an everlasting impact on the world of mortals. The air on Mount Olympus grows heavy as the gods' personal struggles ripple across the divine halls. The storm within the hearts of Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, and the other gods is not just one of power, but of emotion, jealousy, love, betrayal. These are not only the motivations of mortals, but of immortals as well. The divine world, despite its power and grandeur, is not free from the turmoil that exists between families, kingdoms, and hearts. Zeus, though all-powerful, is not exempt from the consequences of his actions. In the Golden Throne Room, a heated discussion unfolds. Zeus, his gaze strong yet uneasy, sits at the center, his thunderbolt resting at his side. The tension in the air is palpable as Hera stands before him, her eyes cold with fury. She has long suffered from his endless affairs, each one deepening the rift between them. Despite her role as queen, the sting of betrayal has pierced her heart again and again. Her love for him wavers between intense jealousy and the burden of her sacred vows. Hera's anger simmers quietly, but it is a fire that cannot be ignored. She has already punished those whom Zeus has taken as lovers, and her vengeance is not only swift but relentless. In her mind, this is not just a matter of pride, but of maintaining her reputation and authority as the goddess of marriage. Hera is not a goddess of petty grudges. Her love for Zeus once had been genuine, but now it has become something more bitter. The goddess of loyalty has been repeatedly betrayed, and now the very fabric of their union feels torn beyond repair. Zeus, feeling the weight of Hera's glare, knows that this conflict is inevitable. His heart is not without regret, but his nature compels him to act impulsively and pursue desires that often complicate his kingdom. Despite his power, he cannot escape the consequences of his actions. The heavens, once peaceful and perfect, are now a battleground for the clashing emotions of the gods. Zeus's infidelities have shaped the future of Olympus, and while they have granted him children like Athena and Apollo, They have also cost him dearly in his relationship with Hera. Even now, Hera's resentment simmers, shaping the decisions of the gods. Poseidon watches the scene unfold from his place among the gods. Though he is the god of the seas, his temper mirrors the volatility of the ocean waves. Poseidon's unresolved anger toward his brother Zeus runs deep, and he too is often driven by the urge to overthrow Zeus and claim the throne for himself. As much as he respects his brother's strength, Poseidon harbors feelings of discontent and rivalry. He can see Hera's emotional turmoil and understands her pain, yet he also knows that Zeus's power is absolute. Poseidon's loyalty to his brother has always been tempered by his own ambitions and desires for the seas, to be his domain untouched and unchallenged. Amidst this tension, Athena, the wise and strategic goddess, watches the drama unfold quietly. Though she is the daughter of Zeus, she is not drawn into the familial squabbles of love and jealousy. Athena stands above this emotional chaos, preferring to observe, analyze, and act with reason. Her wisdom has guided many mortals, and she believes that balance is maintained not through conflict, but through understanding. She quietly wishes that her father and mother would find a way to reconcile, to heal the rift between them, but she knows that gods, like mortals, are not so easily mended. Yet, in Athena's calm demeanor, there's the quiet strength of wisdom that could solve this conflict if only the gods would listen. She knows that power without wisdom leads to destruction, but in her silence, she remains a neutral force, one that could act to preserve the order of the cosmos if it came to that. But for now, she watches, knowing the power struggle will continue. Meanwhile, Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, sees the struggles of the heart from a very different perspective. To her, love is complicated, but also divine. Her presence in the court of the gods is always felt, and she sees that the gods' lives are marred by the very thing they control, love. She has witnessed the damage jealousy has wrought between Zeus and Hera, yet she also knows that love cannot be controlled. Aphrodite's own relationships with the gods, including her affair with Ares, are a reflection of the complexity of the heart. For Aphrodite, love is a sacred gift, but also a curse that can lead to endless suffering when tainted by betrayal. The tension among the gods of Olympus is not one that can easily be solved. The conflict between Zeus and Hera is mirrored in the struggles of Poseidon, Athena, and even the calm presence of Hades in the underworld. Each god faces their own internal conflict driven by emotion, power, and love. Even in the grandeur of Olympus, they are bound by the same complexities that shape the mortal world. Love, jealousy, ambition, and betrayal are as much a part of their existence as the very power they wield. But even as these divine struggles unfold, The gods are forever intertwined in the fabric of the universe they control. Their relationships may be fraught with conflict, but their interdependence ensures that the universe will continue to move forward, shaped by their decisions, their emotions, and the timeless balance of power. And in the stance between power and passion, the story of the gods continues to echo throughout time. Asterisk, the gods of Mount Olympus continue their eternal struggle with one another, their conflicts and desires shaping not only their own fates, but the fate of mortals and the very world around them. However, beyond the surface of their divine battles, there is a deeper, quieter force at play, a force that the gods cannot control, a force that binds them to a greater destiny. This force is the will of fate, the ancient and unyielding power that governs the lives of both gods and humans. At the heart of this unseen power stands Atropos, one of the three fates, known as the one who cuts the thread of life. Her sisters Clotho, who spins the thread, and Lachesis, who measures it, weave the destinies of all beings in the cosmos. They are neutral forces, unburdened by the gods' emotions or ambitions. Fate does not care for love or jealousy, nor does it heed the desires for power or retribution. It simply exists, a constant, inevitable presence that shapes the lives of all living things. As you sit in quiet contemplation, imagine yourself stepping into the realm of the fates, where time seems to slow and the very fabric of life is being spun before your eyes. The air here is still, the only sound being the soft whir of the spinning wheel as Clotho weaves the thread of life. There is no chaos here, no thunder or rage. Instead, everything exists in perfect harmony, as if guided by an unseen hand. The thread that Clotho spins is delicate yet strong, carrying the weight of every being's journey, from birth to death, from triumph to tragedy. It is a reminder that no matter how powerful the gods may be, they too are subject to the laws of fate. In the shadowy depths of the underworld, Hades, the god of death and the ruler of the dead, knows this truth well. Unlike his brothers Zeus and Poseidon, Hades does not seek to control the world of mortals. Instead, he maintains the balance of life and death, overseeing the souls that pass into his realm. To him, death is not an enemy, but a natural part of existence. Hades' role is not to bring suffering, but to ensure that the souls of mortals find their resting place. In his somber domain, there is an acceptance of the inevitable cycle of life, a balance that must be upheld for the universe to function. Feel the quiet strength of Hades' presence as he watches over his kingdom. Though he may seem cold, even distant, Hades understands the deep truth that the gods cannot escape. Life and death are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. And in this understanding, Hades' realm is as vital to the world as the heavens above or the seas below. His kingdom is not one of evil, but of inevitability. It is a place of peace and order, where every soul has its rightful place, and where the forces of fate work unchallenged. Even Zeus, despite his power over the heavens and the storms, cannot control the tides of death. He may strike down foes with thunder, but death is an event that he cannot avoid or delay. It is fate's domain, and even the king of gods must respect it. The gods may rule over the natural world, but it is the fates who hold dominion over all that lives and all that dies. As you rest here in this quiet corner of the universe, you begin to understand the delicate dance between the gods and the forces of fate. Zeus's power, though immense, is only part of the grand design. His impulsive actions, his divine love, affairs, and his battles with his fellow gods shape the world, but they do not change the fact that fate weaves its threads into every moment, shaping the destinies of both gods and mortals. The gods are powerful, but they are not free from the consequences of their choices. Imagine now the calmness of this acceptance, the gentle understanding that life and death, power and weakness are all part of the same eternal cycle. The gods, for all their grandeur, are subject to the same laws that govern the lives of mortals. And just as Zeus, Hera, and the others struggle to maintain their power, the fates continue their work, weaving the destinies of all beings in a pattern that is larger than any one god's influence. Let this realization settle within you. The gods are immortal, but they too are part of something larger, something inevitable. The stories of love, betrayal, and power are woven into the threads of fate, shaping their actions and the world around them. But despite their divine status, the gods, like mortals, cannot escape the forces that bind the universe together. And it is in this universal balance, the balance between power and fate, life and death, that the story of the gods continues to unfold. Feel the calm of this, understanding. Even as the gods of Olympus may struggle against each other, their fates are already written, woven by the fates, unfolding as they must. They are part of a grand, inevitable design. And just as their fates are determined, so too is yours, shaped by the forces of the universe, bound by time, and guided by the unseen hands of fate. As you continue to rest, a new understanding begins to form in your mind. The gods, with all their power and glory, are not isolated from the world of mortals. Though they live on Mount Olympus, beyond the reach of ordinary human beings, their actions ripple down through the mortal realm, shaping lives and destinies. The gods are the creators, the protectors, and the destroyers of worlds, yet even they are connected to the very people they rule. The fates of gods and mortals are forever intertwined, each influencing the other in an endless cycle. Feel the weight of this connection as it unfolds. Even the most mighty gods are tied to human life, to the struggles, joys, and tragedies of the mortals they govern. Zeus, for all his power, is bound by his interactions with mortals. The very mortals he created, the civilizations that rise and fall beneath his watchful eye, hold a mirror up to the god's own desires and flaws. His relationships with mortals, from heroic champions to hapless victims, are woven into the fabric of his reign. His decisions shape the course of human history, just as his emotions often lead to divine interventions that leave their mark on the world. One of the most profound connections between the gods and mortals is the power of prophecy. Just as the gods know the threads of fate are woven, so too do mortals sense the pull of their destiny. Feel the weight of this power as it connects you to the mortal realm. The Oracle of Delphi, revered and feared across the lands, channels the divine will of the gods, delivering prophecies that change the course of entire kingdoms. Kings and queens, heroes and villains, all look to the gods for answers to the unknown. Yet, as you understand, even prophecy is no simple truth. It is a delicate dance of fate, an unfolding story that guides without dictating, influencing without controlling. Imagine the tension of a mortal hearing the prophecy, knowing that their fate has already been foretold by the gods. The weight of that knowledge must be unbearable, yet it also brings a sense of clarity. They know their path is set, but the choices they make along the way are their own. This delicate balance between divine will and human choice forms the foundation of the heroic journey where the gods may guide, but the mortal heart is free to act out. Feel the pulse of this journey as it unfolds in your mind. One such journey is that of Heracles, a hero born of divine blood, whose great strength is rivaled only by his trials and suffering. Heracles, the son of Zeus and the mortal Alcmene, is both a product of the gods' power and a reminder of the limits of their control. His 12 labors are not just feats of strength, but also of endurance, shaped by both his divine lineage and his mortal heart. His struggles mirror the very essence of being human, a battle between the forces of fate and free will, between power and vulnerability. Yet Heracles is not the only mortal touched by the gods. Feel the quiet sorrow of Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, who is taken to the underworld by Hades and forced to live with him for part of each year. Persephone's story is a tale of abduction, but also of transformation. She goes from being a carefree goddess of spring to the queen of the dead, a role that symbolizes both life and death. Her relationship with Hades is more complex than it first appears. It is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, the gods themselves are affected by love, loss, and the push and pull of fate. Now, as you drift deeper into rest, you feel the connection between the divine and the mortal growing stronger. The gods may rule over nature, but the mortals are the ones who live and breathe. They're the ones who experience the world in all its complexity, joy, sorrow, love, loss, and in their experiences, they shape the world around them. The gods may offer guidance, but it is the mortals who, with their free will, shape the course of their lives. Consider the stories of Achilles, Odysseus, and the other great mortals who shaped the history of the world. Their names are still spoken with reverence, for their deeds are more than just legendary. They are timeless examples of what it means to strive, to fight against fate, and to create meaning in a world shaped by the gods. Asterisk, as you rest in the quiet of the night, let these divine and mortal stories guide your thoughts. Feel the connection between the gods and mortals, not as a line of division, but as a tapestry woven together by fate and free will. The gods may rule the heavens, but it is the mortals who define the world below. Each life, each choice echoes through the ages, creating a story that is as eternal as the gods themselves dot as the night deepens. You drift further into the peaceful embrace of sleep, but a new thought lingers gently on the edge of your consciousness. While the gods of Olympus wield unimaginable power and control over the forces of nature, it is the mortals, with their courage and free will, who define the most poignant and transformative stories. Even in a world shaped by divine intervention, it is the mortal heroes who rise against the weight of destiny, pushing the boundaries of fate to create their own legacies. Imagine, for a moment, standing alongside Achilles on the shores of the Trojan War. You feel the sand beneath your feet and the weight of the armor that encases your body. As the wind whips across the battlefield, the sound of clashing swords and the cries of warriors fill the air. Achilles, the greatest of all the Greek heroes, is ready to face his destiny, but he does not seek to avoid it. Instead, he embraces it, knowing that the glory and sacrifice that will define his life are both shaped by the gods and driven by his own will. Achilles is a hero not because he seeks immortality, but because he chooses to live in a way that transcends fate. His actions are not simply the fulfillment of a divine prophecy. They are a testament to the power of choice, to the strength found in humanity even amidst divine machinations. Feel the heat of the battle, the adrenaline coursing through your veins as you witness the relentless will of Achilles. He knows his death is foretold, but he does not falter. Each swing of his mighty sword, each step forward on the battlefield, defies the gods and fate itself. His strength is unmatched, but it is his resolve, his willingness to face death head-on for the sake of his people and his honor, that immortalizes him. Even Zeus, the king of gods, watches with a mix of awe and sadness as Achilles, the son of Peleus, carries out his destiny with a heroic flame that will never burn out. His death may be inevitable, but the legacy he leaves behind, shaped by his own choices and courage, will echo through the ages. Now, step away from the battlefield and picture the quiet yet equally remarkable journey of Odysseus, the wily king of Ithaca. As he sails the tumultuous seas on his way home after the Trojan War, you can almost hear the crashing waves against the sides of his ship and feel the cold mist of the ocean spray against your face. Odysseus is not the mightiest warrior nor the most powerful god, but his wit, his craftiness, and his determination make him a hero of a different kind. For years, he faces challenges set by the gods themselves, the Cyclops, the Sirens, and the goddess Circe. Yet, despite the gods' interference, it is Odysseus's mind, his ability to think and adapt, that ultimately leads him home. In Odysseus's journey, you see how mortals are not simply pawns in the hands of the gods, but rather active participants in their own stories. Though the gods control the elements, the weather, and sometimes even the fates of men, it is Odysseus's courage and cleverness that enable him to defy even the most daunting of challenges. He faces what seems like an unbreakable cycle of adversity, yet he continues, knowing that his return to Ithaca and his reunion with his beloved Penelope is more important than anything the gods can throw his way. His trials are not merely for survival. They are for the creation of his own story, one written by his choices and his will to persist against all odds. Feel the deep sense of connection you now have with these heroes. Their struggles against the forces of the gods mirror the human condition, showing that while the divine might shape the world, it is the choices made in the face of fate that define a life. The courage to stand tall, to fight against the waves of the gods, is not exclusive to the great heroes of ancient myth. In your own life, you too have moments where your courage, your resilience, and your choices define your own story. Just as the gods in their divine halls look upon mortals with awe, so too can you see the divine potential within yourself, the power to shape your destiny, to live boldly, and to make choices that echo through your own life's journey. Now, with each deep breath, feel the legacy of these heroes settle into you. Achilles teaches you that glory is not only found in victory, but in the fearless pursuit of one's own fate, regardless of the cost. Odysseus reminds you that wisdom and cunning can be just as powerful as brute strength. These heroes, though surrounded by the gods, show that mortals have an inner strength, a resilience, and an ability to overcome that is both universal and deeply personal. Let this awareness sink deeper into your being as you rest and prepare for sleep. Feel the strength of the mortal spirit that defies all odds, the courage to keep moving forward, no matter the challenges. These are the qualities that you too carry within you. In the same way that these heroes wrote their stories, you too are part of the ongoing narrative of human resilience, guided by the gods but defined by your own choices. Allow this knowledge to calm your mind, knowing that your own journey, like those of Achilles, Odysseus, and the countless heroes of myth, is marked by the very strength that makes you uniquely human. Rest now, knowing that you, like the ancient heroes, are on a path filled with possibility and power, where every step forward is a step into your own legend. As you continue to rest, your mind drifts through the ancient stories of the gods and heroes, weaving together their divine gifts, curses, and the lives they touched. While the gods of Olympus wield immense power over the forces of nature, fate, and humanity, their divine influence is a double-edged sword, both a blessing and a curse. Their actions, both intentional and impulsive, shape the world in ways that mortal beings can never fully understand. Yet, within their divine nature lies something uniquely human, a profound desire to connect, to love, and at times to destroy. Imagine now the gift of wisdom bestowed by Athena, the goddess of intellect and strategy. As you rest in the calm, feel her presence, a quiet strength, as still and precise as the sharpened blade of her spear. Athena's wisdom is not just an abstract knowledge. It is a gift that transcends human understanding, enabling mortals to solve complex problems, to overcome their greatest obstacles, and to see the world with clarity. She is the goddess who guided Odysseus, helping him navigate the chaos of the sea and the deceptions of the gods. Athena's blessing is a gift of reason, allowing mortals to think strategically, to act with both patience and foresight. Feel the comfort of knowing that her wisdom flows through you, just as it has through heroes and kings. It is the quiet strength of Athena that calms the mind and guides you toward understanding, both in your dreams and in the waking world. Now, contrast this with the curse of Aphrodite, the goddess of love and desire. Feel the warmth and the intensity of her energy as it fills the air, a force both beautiful and destructive. Aphrodite's power is rooted in the emotional and the passionate. It is a power that compels, that ignites the heart and soul. But, as with all things of beauty, her power comes at a price. Her love is not easily controlled. It binds lovers together, only to tear them apart with the force of jealousy and desire. The mortals who fall under her spell often find themselves in a turbulent cycle of romance, only to be left broken and yearning. But Aphrodite's gift of love is not one of peace. It is a force that sweeps through the heart like a sudden storm. Wild and unstoppable. Feel the fluctuations of love's power as they play across your mind, knowing that even in the quietest of dreams, the touch of Aphrodite's influence might stir you. But it is also a reminder that love, though it can bring joy and connection, can also bring pain. Like a flame that burns too brightly, it often leaves behind ashes and longing. Aphrodite's gift, her divine force, is a reminder that love, is never without its consequences. Feel the weight of these contrasting forces, the wisdom of Athena and the desire of Aphrodite, as they flow through the hearts of mortals and gods alike. They are not isolated powers, but rather parts of the greater balance of the universe, forces that, when aligned, create harmony, but when in conflict, cause the storms that shape the world. The gods, for all their power and grandeur, are not immune to the pull of these forces. Just as mortals are often caught between the tides of love and intellect, passion and reason, asterisk at times, the gods bestow their gifts with love and purpose. Yet at others, they send curses to punish those who defy them, much like the tragic story of Medusa, who, once a beautiful maiden, was transformed into a monstrous gorgon by Athena herself. Medusa's curse was not one of choice, but of jealousy and punishment for an assault on the goddess's own power. Her transformation, however, was more than a punishment. It was a reminder of the gods' temperaments and their ability to reshape lives. Medusa's gaze turned those who dared to look upon her to stone, a tragic twist of fate that cursed her to live in isolation, far from the world she once knew. Feel the sorrow of Medusa as she lives out her existence in the dark, her beauty forever marred, unable to escape the curse of the gods. Yet, like all cursed figures in myth, there is a sliver of hope, for it is through heroes like Perseus that the world can sometimes find redemption. Perseus, guided by Athena's wisdom and protected by Hermes' speed, slays Medusa and frees the world from her terrible gaze. But even in her death, Medusa's legacy lives on, not as a story of destruction, but as a lesson of sacrifice, resilience, and the power of redemption. Now, let your mind drift even deeper as you embrace these divine struggles, both the gifts and the curses, knowing that they too are a part of the eternal cycle of life. The gods may bestow their blessings and curses, but it is mortal choice that shapes how these divine forces unfold. The gods' gifts, whether of wisdom or love, come with both light and shadow, and it is in the mortal heart where the balance of these powers is truly tested. Feel the quiet understanding of this duality, that the gods, like mortals, are bound by the forces of love and power, wisdom and vengeance. As you rest, know that you too are part of this divine tapestry, where the gifts of the gods are ever present, whether as blessings or burdens. And with each breath, you drift deeper into the comfort of this eternal cycle, where both light and dark exist in harmony, guiding you toward a peaceful, restorative sleep out as you rest deeper. A soft realization washes over you. The gods, with all their grandeur and wisdom, are bound to an eternal cycle, one that mirrors the mortal journey of life and death. They too are shaped by the forces of fate, love, and ambition, constantly cycling through moments of creation, destruction, and rebirth. Even Zeus, the mighty ruler of Olympus, is not immune to the ebb and flow of this divine dance. The gods, though immortal, live in a world that is in constant flux. Their divine power cannot protect them from the emotional struggles, the conflicts of the heart, or the eternal consequences of their decisions. The very nature of their existence is intertwined with the mortal experience, impermanent, temporal, and yet eternal. Just as mortals are bound to their lives, to their struggles, their moments of joy and sorrow, so too are the gods inextricably tied to the forces they wield. They may control the skies, the seas, and the underworld, but they cannot control their own fates, nor the destinies of those they govern. Feel the gentle pull of this realization as it settles over you, like the calm of a sunrise gently spreading its light across the horizon. The gods, in their own way, are as vulnerable as the mortals they shape. Zeus, despite his thunderbolts and divine rule, is not immune to loneliness, betrayal, or the complexities of love. His relationships with Hera, with his children, and with those he governs often mirror the very challenges mortals face in their own hearts. His ruling hand, though firm and mighty, must grapple with the emotions and desires that make him human. In his own divine way, dot as you rest, picture the quiet wisdom of Athena, who watches over her father's turmoil, but does not interfere. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, knows the eternal truth, that even the gods must walk their path of conflict and resolution. Athena's wisdom is her greatest gift, yet it too is shaped by the balance of the world. Her thoughts are deep, her strategies precise, but even she is bound by the natural flow of the universe, shaped by the choices of those around her, and the divine forces at work in the heavens. Then consider Hades, the quiet god of the underworld. He too is part of this divine cycle. While his domain is one of death and the finality of life, it is not a place of despair, but of balance. Just as life brings forth birth and growth, death brings rest and peace. Hades, though often misunderstood, plays a critical role in ensuring that the cycle of life continues, each soul, each life having its moment and then passing on to the next. In his quiet realm, Hades finds solace in the knowledge that his role is essential to the balance of the cosmos, a reminder that death, much like life, is a necessary part of the grand design. Feel the calm that washes over you as you understand the role of the gods in this eternal cycle. They, like mortals, are bound to it, constantly renewing and redefining their own places within the grand tapestry. The gods might be immortal, but their lives are filled with moments of change, moments that shape them, just as the lives of mortals are shaped by choices and fate. In these quiet moments of rest, imagine how the gods, despite their celestial power, still experience the same cycles of growth, change and renewal that mortals do. Zeus's reign may seem eternal, but even he must face the consequences of his actions, the limitations of his power, and the uncertainty of the future. The gods are bound by time just as mortals are. And as they move through their cycles of power, emotion, and fate, they too are shaped by the same forces that influence us all: love, loss, conflict, and growth. Let this realization sink into your consciousness as you rest, knowing that both gods and mortals are part of the same cycle. The gods might live forever, but they are not immune to the forces of change. They too are in a constant state of transformation, just as you are. The moments of rest you experience are part of this larger eternal flow, where every ending is also a beginning, where every sorrow carries with it the potential for renewal, and where every moment of joy is a reminder of the infinite potential within us all. Now, allow this understanding to settle into your bones, to soften the edges of any remaining thoughts. The gods and mortals are interwoven, each shaping the other, creating a tapestry of life, power, love, and fate. Feel the peace of this balance as you drift deeper into the gentle embrace of sleep, knowing that the cycles of life, death, and rebirth continue, both within you and in the world around you. And as you rest, trust that these eternal cycles will carry you forward, leading you toward the new day, the new chapter, and the new beginning that awaits when you awake. As you continue to drift deeper into sleep, the soft whispers of fate begin to echo in your mind. The divine drama unfolding on Mount Olympus, the struggles, the desires, and the eternal conflicts is not the only force shaping the world. There's another power at play, one that operates silently but steadily, guiding the threads of life and death, of love and loss, with unyielding precision. This force is the Fates, the three sisters who, by weaving their threads, dictate the destinies of gods and mortals alike. Imagine the quiet realm where these three fates dwell, a place where time itself seems to slow, where the threads of existence are spun, measured, and cut in a delicate, unbreakable rhythm. In this realm, there is no room for conflict or chaos. The fates are not swayed by the whims of the gods. Their power is absolute, their judgment impartial. Each life, from the humblest mortal to the greatest deity, is subject to their design. As you rest, feel yourself standing in this sacred, silent place, surrounded by the invisible threads that weave through time. Before you stands Clotho, the youngest of the three, who spins the thread of life. The wheel beneath her hands turns with a gentle whir, and with every turn, a new life is woven into existence. Her hands are steady, her focus unwavering as she creates the intricate paths of mortal and divine fates. Clotho's presence fills the air with a quiet, gentle hum, a reminder that every birth, every beginning is part of a greater plan. Each thread she spins holds the potential of a new journey, a new destiny unfolding in the vast tapestry of the universe. Beside her is Lachesis, the sister who measures each life, ensuring that the length of the thread corresponds to the time a soul will walk upon the earth. Feel the steady pulse of her presence as she inspects each thread with careful eyes, determining the course of each individual's journey. There is a calm authority in her movements as she runs her fingers along the threads, measuring them with a ruler that never wavers. Lachesis's role is one of balance and fairness, for she knows that the length of each life is predetermined, and she carries the responsibility of ensuring that the balance of the universe is maintained. With every measured moment, the story of life unfolds, a beautiful harmony of birth, growth, and eventual death. Finally, standing at the edge of the weaving room is Atropos, the eldest sister, whose role is both solemn and inevitable. Atropos holds the scissors that cut the thread of life. She is the end of every journey, the final moment when a life, whether mortal or divine, comes to a close. Her hands are steady and deliberate as she cuts each thread, knowing that her actions bring closure and peace to the lives that have been woven. But despite the finality of her work, there is no malice in Atropos's actions. She does not act out of anger or vengeance. She simply does what must be done. Her task is not to end, but to allow each soul to return to the great cosmic cycle, where the weaving of life and death is constant, unbroken, an inevitable dot. As you rest here in the presence of the fates, feel the weight of their work settle within you. Each of them is bound by the same unchanging laws, spinning, measuring, and cutting with a precision that mirrors the natural world. Nothing is left to chance, nothing is forgotten, for the fates see all, the unwritten stories, the quiet moments, the lives of gods and mortals alike. They are the eternal watchers, the quiet architects of the universe. Their work is both merciful and unforgiving, for they know that death is not an enemy, but a natural part of the balance of life. Asterisk in this peaceful stillness as you allow yourself to rest. Imagine that you're a part of the cosmic tapestry being woven by the fates. Each of your actions, each of your choices is a thread in the grand design. Though you may not know where your thread leads, feel the quiet comfort in knowing that it is part of something greater. The fates, though they hold the power to shape life, are not rulers. They are keepers of the balance, ensuring that every soul, whether mortal or divine, has its place in the infinite story of the universe. As you continue to drift deeper into sleep, let the thought of the fates' gentle hands weaving the threads of your life bring you peace. Feel the quiet acceptance of your place in this great cosmic design, knowing that your journey is part of a story much larger than yourself. The fates, in their infinite wisdom, understand that life is a series of moments, some brief, some long, but each essential to the tapestry. And with each passing moment, you are connected to something timeless, something eternal. The threads of your existence are woven with care, and just as the fates guide all lives, they guide yours, bringing you comfort, understanding, and peace. Let this knowledge wrap around you like a warm blanket, soothing your mind and body as you sink further into the quiet, deep sleep. The fates will continue their work as they always have, and you too are part of their infinite cycle. And so, in the peace of this understanding, let go of all thoughts, allowing the gentle rhythm of sleep to carry you toward a new beginning, knowing that the threads of your life are being woven with care and purpose, and that all is as it should be. As you drift even deeper into the tranquil embrace of sleep, a final soothing thought wraps itself around your mind. The cycle of life and death, the eternal dance of the gods and mortals, is not just about power, love, or fate. It is about connection, about how each thread in the grand tapestry of existence is bound together by a shared rhythm, an ongoing, unbroken flow that stretches through time and space. The gods, though immortal, are as much part of the cycle as the mortals they influence. Their actions, decisions, and relationships ripple across the fabric of the universe, shaping the course of history and the destinies of countless souls. Feel the quiet power of this connection as you rest, knowing that just as the gods are bound by their eternal rules, so too are you in your own way, part of this endless dance. Like the fates who weave the destinies of all, the cycles of life and death, love and loss, creation and destruction continue uninterrupted. Even as the gods enact their divine drama in the heavens, they are also influenced by the same forces that guide you, forces of fate, choice, and the invisible yet undeniable bonds that tie all lives together. You are not alone in this moment. You are connected to the gods, to mortals, and to the forces of nature, time, and destiny. You are part of the grand narrative, a thread woven into the fabric of existence that stretches beyond your own understanding. Just as Zeus rules the heavens and Hera governs the home, just as Poseidon controls the seas and Hades watches over the underworld, you too are part of a larger cosmic order. The gods may be immortal, but even their lives, like yours, are shaped by purpose, by the forces of the universe that guide all things. Let this realization settle gently within you. The gods may have the power to shape the world, to intervene in the lives of mortals, but it is the balance of the universe that holds the true power. It is the quiet force of the cycle of life, of the endless flow of time that governs all. And as you rest now, Feel that quiet force surrounding you, guiding you into the deepest sleep, where you are safe and connected to the timeless rhythm of the universe. Feel the soothing energy of this unbroken cycle. The gods' struggles and triumphs are reflected in your own moments of growth, of change, of stillness. Each choice you make, each path you take, is a part of the ongoing journey, part of the tapestry that has been woven since the beginning of time. Just as the gods have their place in this divine order, so do you. Your own thread, though delicate, plays an essential role in the great unfolding of life. With each deep breath, surrender to the peace that comes with this understanding. Cycle continues, eternal and unchanging. You are part of it, as the gods are, and as you rest here, drifting into deeper sleep, know that all is as it should be. The rhythm of life flows around you, through you, and beyond you. And in this moment, you are part of something infinite, something beautiful, something timeless. Now, let go completely. There's nothing more to do, nowhere else to go. The gods, the fates, the forces of nature, they all continue their dance, and you are part of it. As you rest deeply, feel yourself becoming one with the eternal flow, knowing that when the time comes for you to awaken, you will do so refreshed, renewed, and ready to take your place in the ever-turning wheel of life. Sleep now, as the world continues its dance, as the gods watch over their domains, and as you rest in the quiet assurance